Hello and welcome to another episode of Upgrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom and happiness get a weekly boost. A huge warm welcome to you guys. You made it once again, whether it's your first time or you've been with me week after week after week. I salute you, I see you, and I am so supporting your upgrade journey. If you haven't already joined us over in the Facebook group, simply search Upgrade with Maria Kay, join us and share. Let me know what is going on with you. Share any celebrations that you have, perhaps any questions, and also any suggestions that you may have for future topics. We are having a blast over there. And if you have any friends or colleagues or family members who you feel could benefit, even just slightly from being part of this amazing network of people that we are creating together, please do invite them along too. Share this podcast, show them how to sign up and get this dropped into their email inbox every week. And you will surely be giving them an amazing gift today. So, how are you this week? What has been transpiring? What has been appearing, emerging, revealing itself for you in the last 7 days? I really, really want to hear from you. It's one of my most favorite parts of doing what I do, is getting to connect with you, getting to support you on your journey. So today I'm going to be taking you through tips to skyrocket your productivity. Now, sometimes we believe that doing more, packing more into our lives, filling our lives full of activities, getting things done, being constantly on the go will get us to where we want to be much quicker. Well, here's a question. How's that working out for you? It's not always the most productive route, right? Being busy all of the time isn't necessarily allowing us to continue to move forwards. Here's the thing. When we allow our energy to lead the way, basically that means how we feel, right? When we follow the pull, the push, or the signs to speed up or slow down, either way, when the right moment arrives, we feel so inspired, so immersed in the energy flow that we achieve 100% more of what we would normally do so in times of, say, busyness or strict regime or routine. So here are my tips to skyrocket your productivity in your journey of upgrade, in your quest, on your mission to improve your life, to go from where you are now, having highlighted areas of your life that you're not happy with, straight into a gradual momentum, constantly moving forward day by day by day as you move closer to where you want to be. Now, if you're just joining us today, I really recommend that you go back and you listen to as many of our previous podcasts as you possibly can, because if you are yet to be clear on where you desire to be, if you haven't yet connected with your wants, your needs, your ideal vision for your upgraded life, then I suggest you do that first. That will create much clarity, which then gives you power. That for me is one of the most powerful places to be, is when you have clarity on what it is you want. So go back and do that. But moving forward, Step number 1 is banish overwhelm. So when we're faced with so many things to deal with, so much chatter, so much going on in our mind, writing things down is actually, for me, the way to go. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the to-do list. However, there are times in our life or in our week, perhaps, when writing things down is the perfect method to gain the clarity that you will need to get out of that stuckness, because overwhelm will keep you stuck. It's literally like wading through a deep, sticky, thick swamp. Slows you right the way down. And it's not necessary, guys. You don't need to live a life trudging through a swamp, right? So we want to see you soaring above the clouds for most of the time. So to banish overwhelm, start by writing a list. You don't even need to call it or label it a to-do list. Literally write the things down that are on your mind, or the things that you know need your attention or you need to get actioned, basically. Now, a little tip for this is write everything down on the page. Everything that you are having in your mind, everything that you'd like to get done. Now, the next step is to then pick the top 5 things. So go down the list and number 1 to 5, the things that you deem really high priority, that are non-negotiable, that are urgent to tend to today. And then continue from 5 all the way to 10, numbering the items on that list that are the next phase of urgency, as it were. So then you look at your list, you've got numbers 1 to 5 and then 5 to 10. You then might want to have some fun and grab some highlighters, grab your favourite colour, so mine probably would be pink or purple, and then highlight the top 5 with your favourite colour, your most favourite colour, and then highlight 5 to 10 with your second favourite colour. And then when you look at your list, you then have your initial eye contact going to numbers 1 to 5. You're going to be drawn to doing these things. And the rest of the items on your list, cross them off. Now, if you can't quite bring yourself to do that, if it's a little bit scary, if I cross that off, what will happen? You know, will my life fall to bits? Will it crumble, for example? Then just leave it. Just leave it, focus on 1 to 5 and then 5 to 10, and just notice how the things that you haven't highlighted start to just slip into the background. They fade away. Because you know what, guys? We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We try and be the super mums, the super dads, the super woman, super guys, when really that's so outdated. And we are led predominantly, hopefully if you've been with me a while, this will start to be a thing of the past for you, but usually we are led by our minds, and our egos get right in there, wanting us to achieve the unachievable. So this is our first step to skyrocketing our productivity. Banish overwhelm. So step number 2 to banishing overwhelm is literally do nothing. Ooh, that can bring about some real discomfort, right? How can I possibly do nothing when I've got all of this stuff to do? Well, step number 1 will definitely help combat that icky feeling or that fear. Right? What do we fear, really? Let's look at it a bit closer, right? We fear that our life will implode. We feel that we will be caught out as a fraud. You know, I'm this competent entrepreneur, competent manager, CEO, whatever your role is, competent mother even, homemaker, right? If I do nothing, I can't possibly live up to that standard. Or if I do nothing, I won't achieve X, Y, Z of where I want to be in 6 to 12 months' time. Fear keeps us in that place of acting from, well, actually a place of fear. So when we allow ourselves time to just be. Now, I'm not talking about meditation here. I'm not talking about anything spiritual, so to speak. I'm talking about simply doing nothing. Now, we're going to come to a more specific step-by-step guide to that further down in this podcast. But really, doing nothing is like plugging yourself into a turbo booster. Not in the moment of doing nothing, but later on, down the line. When was the last time you looked in your diary and you thought, wow, I can do nothing today? It's such a powerful thing to have going on in your life. Step number 3, be your own cheerleader. So connecting with the end result and also the why you want the end result to be present in your life is paramount. For example, why do you want that job? Why do you want the results that running or embarking on a fitness regime may afford you with? For example, running is tough. It might suck while you're doing it. Your body might ache. You might be screaming with discomfort, right? Yet the sensation, or the feelings that you get afterwards, towards the end of your run, the feeling of accomplishment, or the effects that it will have on your physical fitness, right? Whatever reasons you decide that you want to run for, perhaps it gives you the energy to play with your kids. Okay, so stepping into the role of pointing out to yourself why you want to do it. Now, you know why you want to do it, but when it comes time to doing the activity, we let that slip away, we forget, and we conjure up all of the excuses, we conjure up all the reasons why we shouldn't do it. So if you've made a commitment to yourself, if you've made a decision, right, then stepping into the role of being your own cheerleader or your own coach is really necessary in order to be able to see it through. For example, if you're building your own business, if you're building a business where you rely on taking on clients, selling a product, for example, then speaking to new potential clients it's going to need to feature somewhere in your business plan, right? Now, you may find that awkward. You may find that a really difficult and undesirable, not really a fun part of building your business. But hey, if you've decided that that's what you want in life, if building this freedom-based business will give you the opportunity to travel the world with your family while creating a solid income, then it's clear that that's a part of your business that needs to happen, right? So what can you do to cheer yourself on? What can you do to highlight the good parts, the important parts? Connect with the end result, right? Imagine yourself there with your pom-poms on the sidelines, literally cheering yourself on. It's really important, guys. Tidying your office space, tidying the house. It may not fill you with joy in that moment, right? But thinking of the energy, the space it's going to create, the space for new projects that you're working on, that you're creating. That is what you're going to want to connect with, right? So be your own cheerleader. Step number 3. Moving into step number 4, pleasure. Doing things and focusing your time and your energy on activities, people, places, things that you enjoy really does open up your channels of inspiration. Sitting at your desk, trying to write a blog post or an important email, work on a business idea, or completing those monthly accounts may cause you to hit a block, a little bit like writer's block, right? Think about when your best ideas come to you. When is that? Is it when you're doing the dishes? Is it when you're driving? Right? When do you feel most inspired? Is it when you're walking in nature, listening to your favourite music, out dancing at a party on a Saturday night, for example? Right? Usually it's when you're nowhere near the office or your desk or your workspace. As a side note, always carry something to record your ideas in, either a pen and paper, a diary, a journal, even the notes section or the audio section of your smartphone, right? Now, aside from moving your office to your most inspirational place on the earth, I'm also talking about the real pleasures of life, right? The things that you light up when doing. It's going to be so unique and individual for you, each and every one of you. But the common theme is, do you allow yourself to have fun time every week, every day? What do you enjoy the most? Now, for me, whether you may or may not know, it depends if you're new to us today, if you're new to the group. Last year, I relocated to India and I set up my home on a beach. It was one of the most amazing moves of my life, and I've upgraded many a time. I do share a lot of my story in previous podcasts, so go and tap into those if you haven't already. But waking up every morning and stepping out of my front door and being on the beach, for me, it unlocked so much of my inspiration, right? So much of my connectedness, which in turn allowed me to show up to life, to my clients, to you guys, 100% of the time in congruency with what my message was, what my joy factor was, what my passion was. And it allowed me to share that with you guys, share that with the world, and experience life to the degree that was possible. Now, let's be clear, where I was before, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Life was great, but you know what? There's always room for more. So allowing yourself pleasure, right, is one of the most important elements to allow your productivity to skyrocket. So step number 5, congruency. I really want you to check that what you're trying to be productive in is really aligned with your bigger upgraded vision. Are you trying to encourage yourself to be or do the impossible? In actual fact, when we are in our very own unique energy flow, basically when you're connected to source energy, which is really the truth of everything, right? Pretty much everything that we put our energy to, anything that we try to do or want to do, is effortless. It can be effortless. So here's the question. Are you trying to be productive in the wrong places? For example, are you trying to be productive in keeping a spotless house? Right? When actually your upgraded version of your life includes a housekeeper or at least some help around the house for regular chores, etc. Are you trying to be productive in an area that isn't included in your upgraded life? Step into that for a second. Close your eyes, connect with it for a second. Are you trying to push yourself or mold yourself into something, someone that you don't want to be? Are you trying to improve your physical fitness and feel more energetic by going to the gym, when actually, fast forward or connect with your bigger upgraded vision, the gym doesn't feature anywhere in that vision, but walking on the beach does? Can you see how it doesn't connect? It doesn't fit in. It's highly, and this one also connects back to, well, you know what, all of the steps are interconnected, but congruency connects very well with pleasure. It's really important that you honor what gives you pleasure. For example, if cleaning the house gives you pleasure and it does feature in your upgraded vision, then brilliant. Keep doing it. If it doesn't, then what can you do today to bring your vision into reality today? Now, you may say, well, I can't afford, or my budget won't stretch. I don't really like the word afford, guys. My budget won't stretch to a full-time cleaner or a full-time housekeeper, right? But could you bring in some help, somebody to clean the parts of the house that you really don't enjoy doing, like, for example, the bathroom and the kitchen, or maybe you don't enjoy dusting? Can you bring someone in to do that once a week for a couple of hours? Look at what you can do now, what you can stretch to, right? For example, if your bigger vision doesn't include going to the gym and it includes walking on the beach, okay, well, now maybe you don't live by the beach, but you can go outside and walk. You can find somewhere close to your home or your workspace that you can walk in to increase your physical fitness and boost your energy levels. Look at what you can bring into congruency now. It will ensure that your productivity levels will skyrocket now. Not in 6 months' time, not in a year, now. The universe is so on your side. And when you switch over to that same side, when you step into being on your side, when you become your own cheerleader, when you do what it takes to banish the overwhelm, when you give yourself time to do nothing, when you give yourself pleasure, right? The universe will for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, make life flow much, much easier for you. And it will also steep it in joy. How cool is that, guys? Knowing that every single day you're going to wake up and life will be effortless and joyful, and you will be moving at a much faster momentum and speed towards the life that you want. Now, we know that the journey is highly important. It isn't just about the destination. So follow these steps and your journey will be upgraded in the interim. Step number 6, the basics. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this on this step. It's stuff that you all know, and if you don't know, there's plenty of information out there on the internet for you to go and research. Simple basics. Ensure you are taking care of your basic human needs first, right? The things that we can easily neglect when life gets busy. Sleep, nourishment, pleasures. Yes, we've already mentioned pleasures. I'm talking about the even more primal pleasures that can be pushed to the side, like sleep and nourishment and sexual pleasure, right? The pleasure to connect with other human beings. They are all paramount in the equation of building a well-balanced, holistic lifestyle. If it's not balanced, if you're out of whack in any of these areas, your productivity will be slow. It's like literally walking through that thick, deep, sludgy swamp again. So tending to those basic human needs first. And one of the biggies here is also tending to your emotional needs. Are you allowing yourself time to connect with your emotions, to clear your emotions? Now, go back to, I think it's 2 or 3 podcasts ago. I had an amazing guest on, Lara Waldman, and she talks about, gives you a load of really useful tips on how to clear your energy and maintain balance in that area. Okay. Step number 7, tying a little bit into step number 2, but this one really deserves a standalone of its own. So give yourself time, but the biggie one here is stop filling your time with back-to-back commitments and activities, unnecessary ones. This one you will also be able to tie it in with banish the overwhelm, which we talked about, writing out a to-do list or writing everything out that you think you need to do, right? And then going through and crossing things off and highlighting things in pretty colours, the colours that you love the most. So allowing for those spontaneous moments of inspiration. They cannot happen, guys, if you are back to back with activities. Now, we do this during the week, but you know what? We even do this during the weekend. Ask any one of your colleagues, any one of your family members or friends, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great, but busy. Bump into anyone in the street that you know and haven't seen for a while. Hey, how are you? Oh, brilliant, but busy, so busy. It's not good. And you know what? It's definitely not fashionable. When you allow for those moments of spontaneous inspiration, which you are only going to get when you allow yourself to do nothing, cross off the items in your diary that are just there to fill a void, right? Which then takes me back to step number 6, the basics. Deal with your emotional stuff. Deal with it. Don't push it down, because you will only be running away from it and masking it and trying to block it and cover it over by filling your time with unnecessary clutter. You'll be blown away once you let this happen. Once you give yourself time, you'll be blown away by how productive you can be. For example, if you've given yourself the morning on a Saturday to be in your pajamas, don't rush, have a leisurely breakfast, catch up with your partner, your family, catch up with a book, whatever it is you love to do. Just sit back and watch how productive you could potentially be in the afternoon. Be on the go slow, and I promise you, you will instantly, effortlessly, like we talked about, the universe will have your back. You haven't got to do anything. Just sit and feel, notice the pull. You'll be in a position where you will be so eager to clean the house. You will be blown away. You'll be like, where on earth did this inspiration, this get up and go come from? Happens to me all the time. I might be sitting in chaos, right? With a lot of the traveling that we do, there's quite a bit of packing and unpacking to do and sorting, and, we're clearing out a lot of stuff. And I might be sitting in what I call energetic gunk stuff, right? It's almost becoming a 4-letter word for me, stuff. With, a huge to-do list, things that coming out of my ears, and so to speak, right? And then all of a sudden it's almost like someone's put a motor up my backside, right? And you just feel on top of the world, ticking, activity after chore, after thing off the list. It is a mind-blowing feeling. Now, how do you get to this place, right? It's not easy. You can't do it overnight. I'm not going to lie to you. Start by allowing yourself up to an hour per day of empty time. Now, I say up to. So don't start with an hour. Start with 10 minutes. Now, you are going to have to put this in your diary. If you're the kind of person who has a back-to-back diary, right, filled with stuff and filled with activities and meetings and, coffee meetings, the things we have in our diary may not be life or death, but they're still there, right? So it's a pattern that you're going to have to slowly undo. If you're the kind of person who rams your weekend full of lunch meetings, catch-ups, visits to family and friends, volunteering, whatever it is that you do, it's going to take a little time. So start with 10 minutes in the diary, and don't label it anything doing. Just label it nothing. Label it free. Right? But really do block it out in your diary. Start with 5 or 10 minutes in the first week and then increase it gradually. Do not plan what you're going to do, though. And then when that time arrives, when that moment arrives in the day or in the week, practice noticing what you feel like. Practice tuning in to your energy levels, to your inspiration levels. Practice what you feel like. You may feel like going back to bed. You may feel like sorting out a cupboard in your house. You may feel like getting on the phone. You may feel like just doing nothing. It's really important that you honour this. Now, I recommend that you start with a few seconds of silence and stillness to enable you to connect with what you're feeling and what you're experiencing, in that moment. Do not enter into that segment of time with your mind leading the way. It'll be a waste of time. It won't work. So ask yourself the question, what do I need to do right now to feel amazing? Or another question is, what would empower me the most right now? There are times, guys, when we have really, really a lot to do, but perhaps we're not well. Perhaps we're overexhausted. Perhaps the baby or the children kept us up last night, or we were up late finishing an important project. There are times when the most empowering thing that we can do is to sleep, take a nap, lay down, do nothing. It's so important. So gradually start to increase that short snippet of time until you start to feel more comfortable doing it. Take it from a few minutes to a few hours, maybe a morning or an afternoon, and then graduate up to a whole day. Right. Now, that doesn't mean that on that day per week, now this is going to be much easier, by the way, if you work for yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work a couple of days a week, if you have that flexibility. But if you are locked into a 5-day a week job or something more structured and rigid, take that time at the weekend. You will thank yourself. I promise you. Gradually increase that time. It doesn't mean that you will do nothing. It doesn't mean that you have to fold your arms or, confine yourself to the bedroom or the bed. Not at all. But when you allow yourself that time to tune in, notice how you feel, notice what you're drawn to, I promise you, your productivity will skyrocket and you will become the person living your upgraded life today and not having to wait months and years to get there. So just a short recap: banish overwhelm, do nothing, be your own cheerleader, pleasure, 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 congruency, remember the basics, and declutter your time. Join me over on the Facebook group, Upgrade with Maria K. Let me know how you are getting on with this. What are you achieving in the next few days? Let me know. I am sending you as much love as you can absorb in this moment.